1945, a man walked out of Auschwitz with nothing. His wife dead, his parents dead, his brother dead, his manuscript, his life's work destroyed. And yet Viktor Frankl emerged with something the Nazis could never touch, a fortress inside his mind that no torturer could breach. The Stoics called it the inner citadel. Marcus Aurelius wrote about it while leading armies. Epictetus discovered it while being tortured as a slave. Your body can be caged, but that space between your ears, that belongs to you alone. What if I told you that the most powerful transformation doesn't require changing your circumstances at all? Everything can be taken from a man but one thing, the last of human freedoms, to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances. Today, we're going to build something inside you that nothing can destroy. The unbreakable core. What is this inner fortress? Picture a citadel at the center of an ancient city. Armies can surround the walls. Fires can rage through the streets, but the citadel remains untouched, a final refuge that cannot fall. Marcus Aurelius, the most powerful man in the world, wrote in his private journal about this exact idea. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. Think about that. An emperor who commanded legions, who could have anything he desired, spent his nights reminding himself that his true power wasn't in his armies or his wealth. It was in his mind. But here's what most people miss. This isn't about positive thinking. This isn't about pretending everything is fine when your world is burning. This is about sovereignty, complete, absolute ownership of your inner world. The question isn't whether storms will come. They will. The question is whether you've built something inside that can withstand them. And that brings us to someone who proved this idea in the most extreme conditions imaginable. Frankl's discovery. Viktor Frankl wasn't just a prisoner in Auschwitz. He was a psychiatrist observing the human soul under impossible conditions. He watched men give up and die. He watched others survive against all odds. And he noticed something extraordinary. The survivors weren't always the strongest physically. They weren't always the youngest or the healthiest. They were the ones who found meaning in their suffering. Frankl himself survived by imagining himself lecturing about the psychology of the concentration camp, using his suffering as material for helping others. He held on to a future that existed only in his mind. The guards could starve his body. They could work him to exhaustion. They could take everything external, but they could not touch his purpose. If Frankl's wisdom is opening your eyes to something you've always felt but never understood, hit like and subscribe to unlock more treasures from the vault, because what comes next might change how you see your own struggles. When we are no longer able to change a situation, we are challenged to change ourselves. This is the foundation of the inner fortress. But how do you actually build it? The answer lies 2,000 years in the past. The Stoic blueprint. Epictetus was a slave in ancient Rome. His master once twisted his leg so violently that it broke, and according to legend, Epictetus simply said, "If you continue, you will break it." When the leg snapped, he added, "See, I told you it would break." No anger, no pleading, just calm observation. How is this possible? Epictetus had discovered the most powerful idea in Stoic philosophy, the dichotomy of control. Some things are within our power, and some things are not. Your body, not fully in your control. Your reputation depends on others. Your possessions can be taken. But your judgments, your desires, your aversions, these are yours alone. Make the best use of what is in your power, and take the rest as it happens. Most people exhaust themselves fighting against things they cannot control. They rage against traffic. They worry about what others think. They suffer over the past. The Stoics taught something radical: stop wasting energy on the uncontrollable. Pour everything into what you can actually change. But knowing this intellectually isn't enough. You need to train it into your nervous system. Daily fortification. The inner fortress isn't built in a day. It's constructed brick by brick through daily practice. The Stoics had a term for this: premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of evils. Each morning, you imagine everything that could go wrong, not to create anxiety, but to prepare your mind. What if I lose my job today? What if someone insults me? What if I face rejection? By rehearsing difficulties mentally, they lose their power to destabilize you when they arrive. Seneca practiced this religiously. Despite being one of the wealthiest men in Rome, he would regularly lie as if he had nothing, sleeping on a hard floor, eating simple food. Set aside a certain number of days, during which you shall be content with the scantiest fare. Why? Because comfort makes us fragile. When we've never experienced discomfort, the slightest inconvenience feels catastrophic. But when you've trained in hardship, real difficulties become manageable. You've already lived through them in your mind. Your fortress has been tested. Speaking of testing, there's a modern example that proves this ancient wisdom works under the most brutal conditions. Prisoners of war. James Stockdale was a Navy pilot shot down over Vietnam. For 7.5 years, he was tortured, beaten, and kept in solitary confinement. He had no idea if he would ever see his family again. And yet, Stockdale survived, crediting his survival entirely to Stoic philosophy. Epictetus. Stockdale had read Epictetus before his capture. When his parachute opened over enemy territory, he thought to himself, "I'm leaving the world of technology and entering the world of Epictetus." I never lost faith in the end of the story. I never doubted that I would get out and turn it into the defining event of my life. But here's the crucial insight Stockdale shared. Who didn't survive? The optimists, the ones who said they'd be out by Christmas. When Christmas came and went, they broke. Stockdale's approach was different. He accepted the brutal reality of his situation while maintaining absolute faith in his ability to endure. He controlled what he could, his responses, his resistance, his mental discipline, and released what he couldn't. But the inner fortress serves a purpose beyond just survival. Freedom in chains. Nelson Mandela spent 27 years imprisoned on Robben Island. He was forced to do hard labor, breaking rocks in a quarry. He was allowed one visitor and one letter every 6 months, and yet he emerged without bitterness, without hatred. How? Mandela understood that his captors controlled his body but not his mind. In prison, he read Marcus Aurelius. He practiced the same principles the Stoics taught, focusing on what he could control: his education, his character, his response to injustice. They could imprison his body, but they could not imprison his spirit. I learned that courage was not the absence of fear, but the triumph over it. When Mandela was finally released, he didn't seek revenge. He sought reconciliation. His inner fortress hadn't just protected him, it had transformed him into someone capable of transforming an entire nation. This is what the fortress makes possible. Not just survival, but transcendence. But there's a common mistake that can destroy everything you've built. The fatal mistake. Here's where most people fail. They try to build the fortress by suppressing their emotions. They think stoicism means feeling nothing. This is a catastrophic misunderstanding. The Stoics weren't emotionless robots. Marcus Aurelius grieved deeply when his children died. Seneca admitted to fear and anxiety. The goal isn't to eliminate emotions, it's to not be ruled by them. We suffer more often in imagination than in reality. There's a difference between feeling anger and being controlled by anger, between experiencing fear and letting fear make your decisions. The fortress doesn't block emotions, it processes them, it acknowledges them, and then it chooses a response based on reason, not reaction. Another mistake, thinking this is about isolation. The inner fortress isn't a place you retreat to permanently. It's a foundation from which you engage with the world. Mandela used his fortress to free a nation. Frankl used his to heal millions. The fortress gives you power not to escape life, but to live it fully. Now let's talk about how this applies to your daily struggles. Modern battlegrounds. You probably won't face a concentration camp or torture, but you will face your own battles. The job you lost, the relationship that ended, the diagnosis that terrified you, the betrayal you never saw coming. These are the modern tests of your inner fortress. When someone insults you online, do you spiral for hours? When plans fall apart, do you catastrophize? When you're stuck in traffic, do you feel your peace draining away? These small moments reveal everything. If minor frustrations destabilize you, How will you handle genuine crisis? The Stoics trained on small things so they could handle big things. Every irritation is an opportunity. Every setback is a test. Difficulties strengthen the mind, as labor does the body. Start today. When something goes wrong, pause, ask yourself, is this within my control? If yes, act. If no, accept. This simple question, practiced thousands of times, builds an unshakable core. Pressure creates diamonds. Your struggles are building something invaluable inside you. The ultimate weapon. Here's what the ancient masters understood that most modern people miss. Choice. Between every stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space lies your power. Viktor Frankl discovered this in Auschwitz. The guards could do anything to his body, but they could not control how he interpreted it. They could not control the meaning he gave to his suffering. Between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. This is the ultimate weapon of the inner fortress. You always have the power to choose your response. Not what happens to you, not how others treat you, not whether the world is fair, but how you respond. What meaning you create, who you become through your trials. This is true freedom. Not freedom from circumstances, but freedom within them. The slave Epictetus was freer than emperors. The prisoner Mandela was freer than his guards. The concentration camp survivor Frankl was freer than anyone who has never suffered. And this freedom is available to you right now in this moment. Build your citadel. So how do you begin? Start with one practice from each master. From Epictetus, practice the dichotomy of control. Each morning, remind yourself, I control my judgments, my efforts, my responses. Everything else is outside my power. From Seneca, practice voluntary discomfort. Once a week, skip a meal. Take a cold shower. Sleep without your pillow. Remind your body that comfort is a preference, not a requirement. 1. Ask daily, what's within my control? 2. Practice voluntary discomfort weekly. 3. Journal about your responses to difficulties. 4. Rehearse challenges before they arrive. 5. Find meaning in every struggle. From Marcus Aurelius, practice evening reflection. What did I do well today? Where did I lose my center? How can I respond better tomorrow? From Frankl, find meaning in your difficulties. Those who have a why to live can bear with almost any how. Every struggle is teaching you something. Every setback is shaping you into someone stronger. Your circumstances are the raw material of your transformation. The inner fortress isn't built to hide from life. It's built to engage with life fully, fearlessly, from a place of unshakable peace. The Stoics called it the inner citadel. Viktor Frankl proved it in the death camps. James Stockdale demonstrated it under torture. Nelson Mandela embodied it for 27 years. The inner fortress is real. It's not a metaphor. It's not wishful thinking. It's the most practical, powerful psychological technology ever developed by human beings. Your body can be caged. Your possessions can be taken. Your plans can be destroyed. But that space between your ears, that belongs to you and no one else. Build something there that nothing can breach. No man is free who is not master of himself. The storms will come. The tests will arrive. But when you've built your inner fortress, you'll face them not with fear, but with an unshakable calm that comes from knowing, truly knowing, that the most important territory in your life is already secured. If you made it this far, comment Citadel built if you're ready to construct your own inner fortress. The wisdom of the ages is yours. Use it well. If this unlocked something in you, subscribe for more. The vault has more treasures waiting.